afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. It is the first Thursday of the month, which means we're in the kitchen with Across the Fence, and our chefs have 16 family favorite recipes for us today. They're Carolyn Preek from Williamstown and Deb Plumley and Lynn Jarvis, both from South Hero. Before we see what they've prepared, we want to let you know about our free drawing in which one of you lucky viewers can win this 45-page cookbook, Home Cookin', published by the Grand Isle PTA. It has about 100 family favorite recipes, and Lynn will be preparing one of them in just a few minutes. I'll let you know how you can enter to win at the end of the program. Now, Deb, you're going to start us off?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we've got lots to share today.
Nice.
So I'm really
Smells
infused.
wonderful.
So let's talk about some family favorites. Going to start with this Better For You beef stew. And I'm sure everyone has a favorite recipe for beef stew, and this is one from the Plumley family. Stewing beef is tossed with flour and some herbs and put in your crock pot. So you can tell right there, it's going to be a nice, easy recipe. It's going to cook all day while you're working, and you're going to come home to a great meal. So once you've got the beef in the crock pot, you're going to add your vegetables, and you want to use lots of them. Anything that's your family favorite. I have mushrooms, potatoes, some pearl onions, and carrots. For the liquid, you're going to use a little bit of red wine, or you could use just some extra low-sodium beef broth. You're going to add some low-sodium canned tomatoes and some white beans on the top. Because you're using only about a pound of stew beef and lots of vegetables, and you're going to use low sodium for your liquid, you're going to reduce the calories in this. So some beef stew versions have about 630 calories per serving. This only has 270, and it smells wonderful. So I hope maybe you give this beef stew a try from the Plumley family. Now, obviously, we have lots of apple recipes that are among our family favorites. This is a very simple autumn apple salad, combines two of Vermont's premier products, our wonderful fresh apples and, of course, our maple syrup. The bed of the salad are simply some salad greens. Then you top with chopped apples, some walnuts, some dried craisins. You can leave it simple like that, or you could add maybe some cucumbers, some celery, some onion, again, whatever your favorites are. The secret is this wonderful creamy maple dressing that you make that has maple syrup, some oil, low-fat mayonnaise, and salt and pepper to taste. And this is just wonderful. Keep it separate, pack it in your lunch, and you've got a super homemade lunch. Now, who doesn't love desserts? And let's start with this chocolatey chocolate cake that I can thank from my daughter-in-law, Michelle Plumley. I've always made chocolate cake with peanut butter frosting for my husband's birthday, and this chocolate cake is wonderful. It's a kind of unusual batter because it uses hot water in it as the liquid, but it uses cocoa powder, and I think that's what gives it its rich flavor. The recipe makes 2 round layers, or about 24 cupcakes. As you can see, we sampled some of them because I don't have 24 cupcakes to share today. You top it with a peanut butter frosting, and I've included that recipe in the handout that you send away for. And because this is family favorites, I've topped it with our family favorite, and because it's getting to be fall time, some candy corn. Now, some of our viewers might remember the Bakery Lane Soup Bowl in Middlebury. This fresh apple cake is one of their signature desserts. In fact, I believe it's on the back cover of their cookbook. The only liquid used in this cake, aside from eggs, are 4 cups of chopped apple. So the cake is very moist, very spicy. It's so easy to make. You bake it right in a 13 by 9 pan. Keep it in the pan, let it cool, and then you frost it with a caramel butter frosting. I took a little shortcut today, and I just used a simple cider confectionery sugar glaze. Either way, it's wonderful, and I'm sure your family is going to snatch these up. Now, my final recipe is sent in from a viewer in Danville, Quebec, Eileen Wadley. And these quick fix banana oatmeal cookies are a little unusual. There's no added sugar, there's no flour, there's no eggs, there's no oil. It's simply mashed bananas, large flake oats, chocolate chocolate chips, vanilla, and cinnamon. You sort of mash it all together, spread it on a cookie sheet, and in 15 minutes, you've got a wonderful snack. So I want to thank Eileen for sending this in today. And Carolyn, that concludes my family favorites.
Okay.
And
now,
I'm sure,
my mother
yes.
used to make spice cakes with the peanut butter frosting.
That sounds good
And that,
too.
to me, that's...
Peanut butter frosting's a favorite.
Yes.
All right, I'll let
yes.
you get to it.
Okay. Well, I have a number of recipes today, and most of mine, not all of them, but most of them contain vegetables because it's that time of year, so, you know, different times of year, there's different favorites. I'm going to start out, though, with one that doesn't have vegetables in it, which is fine with me. This comes from Concetta Cornforth of St. Albans, and it is an impossible fudgy nut pie. And I forgot the nuts on it, but hopefully she'll forgive me, and you can see that that is just about as nice and fudgy looking a pie as you can get, and it's made with the baking mix, so you don't have to make a crust and cook that and everything that goes with it. You just put everything together, put it in the pan, and let it cook, and it forms its own crust. So I think that's going to be really, really good. Now, I have, this is kind of a clean up the garden one. It's called a garden chowder, and it has got oodles and oodles of vegetables in it. Cauliflower, broccoli, carrots. It also has cheese, as you can tell, that I don't get from my garden. And it's just chock-a-block full of all kinds of good vegetables, so you can just make that up. You can have it, it's, you know, it's just one of those things that cleans up the garden for you. And so that's a good way to have a nice, hot, fairly quick meal. I put it in the crock pot to bring it up, but it's not made in the crock pot. Now, my next one, again, something that we love is fruit salad. And over here, I have what's called a company fruit salad, and it has got everything in it. It has got apples and grapes and pineapple and mandarin oranges. You could put in some celery if you wanted to, but just a really, really wonderful fruit salad that you can make up, again, fairly quickly and have it all ready to go when company comes, or even if you just want to have a nice big fruit salad for yourself. Now, to go along with the soup and with the salad, we have a carrot zucchini bread. And you don't see the zucchini in this because you peel it. But I was thinking, you know, it might look cute with the green and the orange from the carrots. Again, make it any way you like it. Fix it up with, you know, maybe some raisins or whatever. Just make it interesting. Change them around, make every recipe your own. Now, last but not least, I have a peach upside down cake. Now, everybody knows about pineapple upside down cake, but you don't very often get peach ones. And I wish I had thought earlier, and I would have put some cherries in the center of each one of the peaches. But you have an 8-inch pan, you put your peaches in the bottom with melted butter and brown sugar, some coconut, and then you just put the cake batter on top, and you've got a really nice dessert. Now, maybe that and the brownie could have either ice cream or whipped cream.
Okay.
And nobody brought any of either one of those today.
We didn't last month either.
No, we didn't.
I got the best peaches up at Hackett's Orchard. They're delicious right off the tree.
Oh, boy.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carolyn. Well, I'm going to begin with a recipe from the Grand Isle PTA cookbook that one of you lucky viewers is going to win. And it's a favorite of the Chamberlain family up there in the Champlain Islands. And here it is. It's their hot dog casserole. Now, first you cook some egg noodles, and then you mix it with some Parmesan cheese, milk, butter, and flour. And then you pour that into your baking dish like you see here. And then topping it are sliced hot dogs, mustard, and brown sugar all mixed together. Now, doesn't that sound just delicious? Now, I'm going to scoop some out onto this plate so you can get a little better look at it. And I can tell you this is great for potlucks or picnics. And I'm hoping we still have a few nice days to do some outdoor cooking. This would be a really nice recipe if you wanted to try this to go along with your other ingredients at that picnic. Now, my next recipe goes back nearly 50 years. It's sort of like that old-fashioned tuna pea wiggle, but this is just called a tuna treat. It has only 5 ingredients, and it's served over toast. And it's great for lunch or dinner. And in the skillet, as you can see, you combine your cream of mushroom soup along with some milk, tuna, peas, and crushed potato chips. Now, as I said, you serve it over toast, and I'm going to put a little over this slices of toast. And this is, as I said, an old-time recipe that I've always had when I was a kid and still enjoy. And we're all looking forward to trying this just as soon as the show is over. So there you go, a tuna treat recipe going back about 50 years. Now, my next recipe is a viewer recipe, and he said in the instructions to make it. His name is Bob Crosby, and he lives in Wallingford, and he said it was a favorite recipe of his when he would go to the Royals Hearthside restaurant down in Rutland. I remember that restaurant well driving back and forth through Rutland. And the restaurant is closed now, but he's been trying to perfect this recipe for several months, and he thinks he has it just right. Now, I brought some pictures that he sent in. Now, this first one, you make the dough that's pretty much the same as for any yeast bread, and here you see it on Bob's kitchen table. Next, after the bread has risen for about an hour, punch it down, roll it out to a 1/2 inch thickness, and spread it with a poppy seed filling. And doesn't that look good? And when it's done, the next slide shows it's been taken from the oven and frosted with a lemon glaze and sprinkled with a lemon zest. And we thank Bob for sharing his recipe for poppy seed swirl bread, a favorite of his from the Royals Hearthside restaurant down in Rutland. Now we're going to move on to my desserts, and the first one is a very simple one. As a matter of fact, it goes back to 1960, and it has just 4 ingredients, and it comes from a recipe called Best Day American Living. So if any of you remember that magazine, I'd like to know. Best Day American Living. But simple to make. Into this graham cracker crust, you simply put a mix of lemon pudding, milk, and the last ingredient is as I said, the graham cracker crust. And it's just very nice. It doesn't have a really strong lemon flavor, but I guess back in those days they didn't care so much about that. And they said it serves 8 delighted people, and I think you might want to be one of those delighted people when you do serve this. Now, my last recipes are here on this platter, and I'm going to begin with the apricot bars, which you see right in front, a real favorite of mine over the years. And in these bars, there's apricot preserves that I put in some chopped apricots, chopped walnuts, and a little bit of apricot glaze on the top. They're easy to make, and we're looking forward to having these just as soon as the show is over. Great for potlucks or picnics. And school bake sales, and school has started now, so those bake sales will be started. And here's my last recipe. It's these cherry pie bars. I'm a big fan of cherries, and don't they look good? You make a crust, then over it you put a mixture of cherries and pecans and top with an almond glaze. And we're looking forward to giving these a try in just a few minutes now.
Yes, I am. These recipes look delicious.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can get the recipes. You can go online to the Across the Fence website, go to uvm.edu/extension, click on the link to Across the Fence. You'll find the recipes on the left-hand side of the web page. To get the recipes by mail, send $2 in a stamped self-addressed business-size envelope to Family Favorite Recipes, Box 188, South South Hero, Vermont 05486. And please remember, if you're ordering the recipes, to include $2 in a stamped self-addressed envelope. Your envelope will be used in the free drawing for the winner of the Grand Isle PTA Cookbook. And even if you're not ordering today, you can use this address to be part of the free drawing. Just send along your name and address. Good luck to all of you. And thanks to our chef, Carolyn, Lynn, and Deb, for preparing these delicious recipes for us to enjoy. They'll be back on October 5th with an annual favorite, apple recipes. I can't wait for that one. I'm Judy Simpson. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.